welcome to another episode of the Growth League podcast. I'm here with my guest, Liza Marner. She's the Director of Marketing and Partnerships at Impact Kitchen, based in Toronto, but growing now. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Liza, welcome to the show. Great to have you here.
Thank you so much, Caleb. So excited to chat today, and thank you for having me.
Well, Toronto, you guys just got over a big loss for the Maple Leafs. We discussed no relation to Mitch Marner, but Liza, what I want to ask you is, what has your journey kind of been as a marketer? What brought you to Impact Kitchen? Maybe what were some of the stops along your career journey that have kind of gone into shaping who you are as a marketing leader today?
Absolutely. Well, great segue with the Mitch Marner question, because
Had
I
to ask.
actually started my career in sports marketing. And in my undergrad, I did sport marketing as well as business school. So I started my career in the sports world, more in the partnership space, more in the brand partnership space, where you would have brands that would be associated with um, professional sports teams or athletes that are activating their brand against the team as a platform. So I did
The
that for
dream
many
job.
years. Yeah, I did that at Tennis Canada, so national governing body here for tennis, as well as Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment. So I couldn't go far without that Mitch Marner question for the
Totally.
many years that I worked there. But yeah, that was where I started. And honestly, when I went into that space, I didn't really know what it meant. I knew partnerships existed. I understood the concept of sponsorship. There's so much that goes into that world. It was an amazing starting point for me in my career. I spent a long time doing that, just in and around 10 years, let's call it. And then I was ready for a change. It ultimately came down to just looking to get into the weeds a little bit more, honestly. Going from a corporate environment into a more entrepreneurial environment was always something I knew I would want to do.
Hmm.
And the right opportunity came my way with Impact Kitchen. They actually hooked me in with this New York expansion that's now actually happening 3 years later. So
That's
it's been quite the journey. Again, the sports piece to the restaurant world was, I actually got a lot of questions when I was making that move of like, why are you leaving sports to go work for a restaurant? What are you doing? But we do tons of work here with professional athletes. Basically, every professional sports team, when they're visiting Toronto or playing in Toronto, are
oh,
eating Impact Kitchen. We do lots of work with NHL off-season training programs. We've set up Impact Kitchens in the Blue Jays locker room.
really?
We've done a little bit of everything in that world. So, yeah, it's been a great kind of step into a broader wellness world for me. And we're doing something really cool and interesting that athletes love. So for me, it's just been a different approach, a different lens applied to the sports world through the power of nutrition and high quality food and great service.
What was it that called you to, you talked about more of this like entrepreneurial, not startup necessarily, but getting in the weeds. Like why is that so important? Why did that call you as compared to maybe a little bit more formulaic?
For sure. I would say I've always knew at some point I want to have an entrepreneurial experience in my career. As my first kick at it, it's helpful to be joining a team that is in that kind of growth phase.
Yeah.
I've learned so much. We work very closely with the founders and the full ownership and leadership team here at Impact. We are a small but mighty team, as we like to say. But overall, I just knew entrepreneurship was an area I was interested in and wanting to get into at some point in my career. Um, I still love and always did love that sports marketing component. So really finding an opportunity that came my way that ultimately brought those two worlds together at a great time for me,
Yeah.
was what brought me into in the first place.
Wow, that's cool. And so when you were hooked by this New York expansion, that obviously was going to be a big part of your mandate, but how would you describe what you get paid to do today? At the end of the day, what is your accountability?
Yes. I would describe it as to provide a world-class guest experience to every customer, partner, guest, catering client at Impact Kitchen. From a marketing and partnerships perspective, just making sure those people feel seen, heard, valued, appreciated, understood within however they're interacting with Impact Kitchen is at the core of what I'm working towards every single day.
And how do you describe yourself as a leader of a function and of people? And what have you learned about yourself through this experience going from sports marketing into restaurant as it relates to who you are, who Liza is as a leader?
Absolutely. I've learned the importance of just making people feel supported. For me, it's all about autonomy. I think you bring in a team to do their job and letting them do their job while also encouraging and hoping that they'll always continue to share ideas, to point out blind spots, to bring forward challenges that they're facing. So for me, I think it's honestly communication and being open, having an ear to the ground to understand what's going on, to anticipate those challenges, but empowering a team to do their thing, to do their area of expertise and bring that forward in a team environment so that we can continue to push and grow together. I would say getting in there, like I'm happy to go to an event and give out samples. I
Yeah.
love interacting with people face to face in that environment. But I'm also happy when the team is like, hey, Liza, we got this, no worries, and just letting them run with it as well. So it's a balance of being all in while also giving autonomy to the team for them to learn and grow and bring forward ideas and help us be better as a group every day.
Did that always come sort of naturally to you, or is it something you had to learn in a hard way to understand that, ultimately, if you're going to get the most impact out of a lean team, you need to lean into letting them do their thing. That's not a lot. That's not easy for a lot of leaders.
Yeah, I'd say it really comes from the entrepreneurial environment that we're in. Even when I started 3 years ago, a lot of these pieces that I'm saying, like power to the team, go do your thing, it used to just be me and I would just do it all. But now, as we've grown and expanded and prepped for ultimately this international expansion, we brought in additional resources to support with that growth. So for me, I guess maybe the challenge or the piece that I've learned as I've put myself in this Impact Kitchen environment is letting go of pieces, right? It's not easy, but it's easy in a different way to do everything yourself.
Yeah.
Once you start growing a team and bringing in other people and allowing them to grow and learn and shine, that's that piece of letting go has definitely been a big learning for me over the last few years. Um, and yeah, I think it resonates. Like we're all in on what we're doing here, and it creates a really fun, energetic, dynamic team environment that everyone is really proud to be a part of.
That's cool. Were there other folks on your team that sort of also got hooked by this idea of international expansion, or why did your team members, if you can remember or if you know, why did they come to Impact?
Yeah, I think we've created something really special here in Toronto, and the thought of sharing that more broadly is extremely exciting. We're at 7 locations here in Toronto, so we've had that steady growth. 7 locations over 10 years. So we've had that steady growth, but it's all been so intentional that it's made perfect sense and it's been really something that we can lean into. I feel in the restaurant industry sometimes you can hear things like opening 1 location every day for 2025, which maybe we'll get there
Yeah.
someday. But I think just the way that we've grown in such a steady, impactful, no pun intended way, um, has just created this environment where people have individually been able to learn and grow alongside the growth of the company, but also with a very clear vision, a very clear commitment to what we're doing and why we're doing it. Has just created endless opportunities. Again, my job in 3 years has changed like 3, 4, 5 times.
Yeah.
Um, Not necessarily on paper, but just as we grow and evolve and the needs change and things like New York are actually happening, the work that goes into growth like that is hard to describe, honestly.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Um, as a marketing leader of a function and of people today, what causes you the most unhealthy inner dialogue or fear or anxiety, and how do you show up as the best version of yourself when that's going on? What are some ways that you deal with that as a leader?
Yeah. I think right now the biggest challenge that I'm currently knee deep in is we've just become a 2 city team. So it used to be so easy to bring everyone together. We actually don't even have a physical office. We just work out of our restaurant spaces.
Oh,
So
cool.
we're in the shoes of our customer constantly. But on the marketing side, I do have like a community manager who is on the ground in New York, meeting the community, building connections down there. So all of a sudden my team is split. The half of, or most of us are here, and then we have some
Right.
individuals that are there. So that's a challenge. I think we can overcome it, and I'm confident all is going to be great. But just the ability to be like, hey guys, let's meet at our Corktown location at 2 p.m. or, oh, we'll do our team meeting in person, or, oh, let's go for a social because we haven't like socialized outside of the restaurant in a while. So that piece for me is, as a leader, I think is super important to make everyone still feel
Yeah.
connected as a team, even though we are now in split markets. And also the individual who's down in New York, there's lots of things happening down there that I'm not seeing every single day. So like the trust there for that individual to share back what she's seeing, hearing, learning, who she's meeting, what's going on, what she needs from us, where she needs more space from us, those types of pieces as well. So yeah,
Wow.
it's a fun, evolving situation, not just in marketing, but across the whole organization. And we're really looking forward to getting the doors open and the outcome of that. But right now, in this lead up time, it's really making people feel seen, heard, valued, even if we're not able to be in person.
How do you know that you and your team, or what do you rely on to know that you and your team are equipped for this next chapter? Is it like a foundation of trust that's been built over time? Is it very specific conversations and preparation for this? I would imagine it's all of the above. But what do you rely on to know that there's a tight knittedness to your team and an ability to chart this uncharted waters together?
Yeah, for sure. I think it goes back to communication once again. For me, I know we're communicating well when people are bringing forward not only good news, but also the more challenging pieces. And when people on the team feel comfortable bringing those challenges forward, not only to me, but in a group setting as well. I think those are the moments of like vulnerability and candor where you all really get on the same page, where we all really understand the need to support each other in maybe a different way than we have been historically.
Yeah.
So I think for me, when I hear someone saying, Liza, I need your help with this, or can we discuss this as a team? I'm struggling with X, Y, and Z. That for me is what teamwork is all about. When
Yeah.
it's all sunshine and rainbows and everyone's just, cruising along with no challenges, great. Let's just keep doing that, get as much stuff done as we can. But it's when we face some of those challenges that coming together as a team for me really kind of shows our strength
Hmm.
and shows the importance of ultimately communicating well and being on the same page with those
Yeah.
around you.
Yeah. It only takes one or two experiences in having a difficult conversation. Either your team member is bringing them to you. It only takes a couple of those to gain the trust, right? To be like,
Mhm.
hey, we're allowed to do this, so now let's really dive in deep because we can be vulnerable, and get shit done, right?
For sure.
Now, for you, what would you kind of claim to be your superpower as a leader of people and as a marketing function? Maybe it's something that comes really natural to you that others say this is Liza's superpower. What are you willing to own in that regard?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think for me, it's commitment. I'm all in on everything I do,
Yeah.
sometimes to a fault, but I would say like just being there. And whether that's physically being somewhere, whether that's providing the tools to allow others to be where they need to be and do what they need to do. But I think just like the commitment to the bigger picture, the commitment to the vision that's been set at Impact Kitchen since day one and in previous workplaces as well.
Yeah.
Um, I've just always been all in. They've always
Yeah.
been known to be like calm in a crisis, so kind of that go-to person when someone's facing a challenge. But I think I feel this in myself here more than ever, but also from those around me, the importance of just, yeah, we'll do what it takes to get it done. Yeah, we're doing this for our guests, for our community, for our partners. And it's not, oh, this is my job and that's your job. It's like collectively, what are we doing to make this happen?
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think just the word commitment stands out um, as a piece of leadership for me that I think makes like ripples
Yeah.
into the people around you, right? When people see the commitment from the leadership team as a whole, which we're all really on the same page with that, which is awesome. But you can see it resonating across the organization and into our community as well.
Wow. Can
Yeah.
you help me understand? Because it is very clear to me that you have a deep rooted passion for the people of the organization and the people that you serve. Like, I don't think that always happens, and you're leveraging that as the foundation of this superpower that allows you to show up the best. So, like, what is going on in Impact? Like, why does it sound like the best place to be
It
and
is.
work? Is it a leadership thing? Is it a commitment to the guest? What is
Yeah,
it?
totally. It's a great question. I think it's a clear vision. It goes a long way. Our founder is or one of our co-founders, very much a visionary and sets that tone. And it, again, resonates with everyone for different reasons at different levels.
Yeah.
But what we're doing here is like, we're not wavering from where we started. And I think, again, specifically in the restaurant industry, as you grow and scale, it's easy to be like, okay, where can we find some wins or cost savings here and there? Whereas our commitment to the quality of our food is like, we will never change that. It's the best quality food that you can get at any fast casual restaurant, point blank. Like, I can confidently say
Boom.
that. We're seed oil free, refined sugar free, 100% gluten free. And all this actually came from our founding team created a food philosophy that's guided every menu decision we've made since launch. So those statements I just mentioned are a
Yeah.
part of that, but also goes quite deep into how we shape our menu. And then from a community perspective, again, yeah, the team is so important to me and to all of us, but our guests, like the loyalty of our guests is unmatched. We have some customers that are coming to Impact Kitchen 30, 40, 60, 80, sometimes 80 times a month.
What?
Um, yeah, so it's not like, oh, I tried that place, like maybe I'll go back someday. We've really built this extremely loyal customer base who believes in what we're offering them, who wants to be a part of it, who have supported our growth here in Toronto and are even more excited for what's to come in New York, even if they don't go to New York or have no connection to that market.
Right.
But yeah, there's just a strong belief in our commitment to quality and making those guests feel like they have options that they can't get elsewhere,
Hmm.
exist within our four walls.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I I'm curious about, you know, not necessarily looking at a chart or a report or something like that, but for you personally, when you're sort of closing your laptop for the day or when you're driving home from work, how do you know whether or not you did a good job as a leader that day? What do you rely on to kind of know, hey, I made impact today? Impact.
It's interesting because we get to be customers in our own space every single day, especially because we don't have like a centralized office space. So for me to go into a restaurant as a customer, quote
Yeah.
unquote, obviously the team knows who we are, but
Yeah.
and have a great experience in the restaurant, that for me is like the number one indicator of a day. It doesn't matter how many things I've checked off my to-do list or how many meetings I had or how many meetings I had to reschedule because a million other things were going on. It comes down to, what is that experience we're providing to our guests? How is our team feeling in the restaurant? And
Hmm.
the quality of the food that's on the plate in front of all those guests as well. So for me, if I'm to like zoom out as far as possible, having a great experience in the restaurant. Yes, I eat at Impact Kitchen every
Yeah.
single day,
Every
if
day.
not multiple times a day. But having that great experience as a customer
That makes
is
sense.
number one, because it's showing that everyone is doing their jobs and we've given the teams the tools they need to provide that great experience to our community.
That's pretty cool.
And then more on like the marketing and partnerships function. I think when we have those really verbal days are when I feel my best, when there's lots of back and forth on Slack, lots of ideas being thrown out. We have a great brainstorm. We have a social post that gets a bunch of engagement on it. We launch a new program and we really feel that energy, and you can just see the excitement in a simple tool like Slack.
Yeah.
Those for me are the days where usually at the end of the day, I'm messaging the team being like, hey guys, awesome day today, great work. So excited. We keep doing great things and more to come. So I think it's those moments where there's a lot of chatter and conversation across the organization, where I feel the most energized and excited about what we're working towards here.
Yeah, instead of it being like a totally introspective way of determining whether or not you're doing a good job, your method and approach is looking to the environment around you from a customer standpoint and the team, and just like, what does the narrative of our conversation sound and look like? That's my
Mhm.
indicator.
Totally. Yeah. Like good energy. We look at it as the good people is all it really takes. Most other pieces are teachable.
Yeah.
A lot of our team at the HQ level and even our like director leadership team have never worked in a restaurant before Impact. Some of them grew up in Impact, like started on the hourly team. Our director of operations started as an hourly barista, perhaps,
Yeah.
and is now director of operations, where there's myself, a few others who've never worked in restaurant before. So yeah, it's just like good people coming together with a clear vision, business fundamentals, understanding what goes into running a successful business, the commitment to making that happen, because it's definitely not easy, especially in the restaurant industry. That's for us, like how we
Cool.
measure where success is.
If impact doesn't hit its targets from where you guys want to be, why would that have happened? Like if impact fails, what happened in your
Yeah.
opinion?
In
That
Toronto at this stage, if it's a complete change from what we're seeing now, I can't even say the word you said because it makes me too emotional. The thought of it. But it would be a like a stray from what we're doing now. It would be a
okay.
stray from our commitment to quality. I think most important guest experience, but for me that also involves the food on the plate. So if we were to, again, the example of, ooh,
Grow too
costs
fast.
are a bit high. Like, let's stop serving full chicken breasts and let's cube up the chicken and scoop it out of a little hot hold thing. If we did that,
Yeah.
I think those types of changes would be very obvious to our customers that we're have some other motives for those changes. And straying from our commitment to quality would be like people would notice.
Yeah.
And I think it wouldn't go over well.
Yeah. So that's going to be a fun challenge, right? Because as you scale and grow, those temptations to find corners to cut become very real.
Yeah, we're actually doing the opposite. So we've just committed to regenerative farming. I won't get too deep into farming practices with you right now, but I'm learning lots in that space
Tell
right
me about it. What is that? The high level.
now. Regenerative farming is just a commitment to sustainability through farming practices. So things like soil health, animal health, actually having like the animals grazing the grass in a rotating basis, using kind of like creating a natural environment for food to grow and food to be processed, no tilling of soil, no pesticides, all of those types of things. It's like what organic was 15 years ago. You'll probably start hearing about it now that I've mentioned it. We went to a farm last week to check out one of our suppliers there, VG Meats, and we walked around with the farmer for a couple hours. Pouring rain was still the most interesting thing I've seen in a while, just to really see what goes into it. And the most interesting part is you look around to all the surrounding fields, and it's all tilled. It's all kind of your
Really?
typical farmland that you would think of. But this one farm that we were working with is doing things completely different. The grass is up to my waist. The cows are roaming around. There's like the chickens and the cows graze in a way that they both get the most out of the soil as possible. It was raining, so we did like the water soaking into the soil and how long that can take, versus on a tilled field, it just runs right off and you lose a lot of that ground cover right away. So things like this, again, it's a whole world that I'm barely scratching the surface on at this point, but we've committed to working with regenerative farms to source various products on our menu. And there's a commitment to that list continuing to grow with every single menu launch we do on a go forward basis.
So these people that are coming like 80 times a month, they are coming because they're wrapped into that story, and there's an alignment of values. It's not just the quality of food. Is
Yeah,
that right?
absolutely. Yeah, I would say a good thing about our menu specifically is we cater to different dietary preferences. So gluten-free we talked about, but if you're dairy-free, if you're vegan, if you're vegetarian, if you are looking for high protein, if you're keto, if you're paleo, we have options for all of those things that are very easy for people to find and navigate. Whereas in most restaurant environments, those can be challenging
Yeah.
diets to find a solution for. So we've really made it easy. We say like impact is for everyone. From a marketing perspective, of like we can't always say it's for everyone because that's a bit too
Yeah.
broad of an audience to speak to. But we really do have solutions that cater to people who ultimately value their wellness, care about what's going into their body, and maybe sometimes have challenges finding options that suit their needs at other restaurants.
Cool.
Yeah.
So let's imagine you had a magic wand and there was one area of your marketing system that you could just zap and radically transform or improve. Where is that and why?
Right now, I would say TikTok.
Okay.
Social media is, as we all know, a crazy evolving beast at all times. I feel incredibly confident about where we're at with our loyalty program. That's so key to success for us. Our Instagram has just had steady growth since inception, ultimately. TikTok for a business is hard to crack the code on. We actually last week reflected on our New York City announcement posts, and we've actually decided to completely redo our TikTok strategy and use it as a tool to grow our Gen Z audience. I'm calling it the next generation of impact customers. So it's going to start to look, feel, maybe not make sense to a lot of the people that are looking at our Instagram, because we are going to look to go after a completely different audience on that channel. We identify as a premium brand or premium price point, high quality product. So you see other premium brands really leaning into that channel and the audience it's meant for. So looking to kind of take some notes from others there and see what we can do. So that's a big one. I would say, other than that, I'm just trying to think, like leaning into segmentation and AI automation in that space as well. Segmentation, we all know, is important in the marketing world, but I think as AI continues to be even more top of mind as time goes on, just the tools that can enable us to speak even more one-to-one to our customers is another big piece for us to figure out.
You
There's
got a
this,
lot of things juggling, right? Like
oh yeah, a
you're
lot.
doing all this with a lean team
Yeah,
and you go into a new market. You don't have the luxury of that sort of foundational tribe of people. It's almost like, hi, nice to meet you for the first time. And now is where it's a real litmus test, right? For does our offering and our brand stand on its own without the luxury of a tribe of loyalists behind it? And I'm
100%.
assuming you're excited to find out the answer to this, but you're also probably quite confident.
Yeah, I would say that's probably one thing that's on my mind daily, as well as how do we balance the Toronto, New York audiences, messages, people. Right now, as an example, we've announced New York to a one or maybe a 99.9% Toronto audience, right?
Right.
Because everyone within our world is
Yeah.
associated with our Toronto locations. So the objective at hand between now and open and then beyond is really how do we grow that New York audience? We're going to have to speak to them differently. They're going to need to understand the foundation of who we are, um,
Hmm.
basically starting from zero, to your point of what is our food philosophy? Who are we? Like
Yeah.
random brand from Toronto coming to New York. Like, can you handle the heat?
That's big time now.
Um, so we'll see. Yeah.
But
Excited.
this is what drew you. These types of challenges is what drove you to Impact in the first place, right? This sort of
Like,
figure it out, grind it out.
for
Um,
sure. Well, we were saying like career milestone. I was also like life milestone opening a
oh,
business in a new market like that, especially a food business in New York, which is quite the food mecca. Like every other storefront, if not more, is a restaurant. So yeah, it's going to be crazy. We're going to learn lots. Again, confident that we have the right people with the appropriate training, appropriate understanding of
yeah.
the vision, and the willingness to do the hard work to get there.
Yeah.
That that will make it happen.
Well, it's good for you guys for not only going into the States, but picking, like you said, probably the hardest place to go into. This is going to be a true test for you and your team, and I think ultimately like a rewarding opportunity for everyone, right? All that work. So leave us with this. I'm curious about when you look at yourself as a marketing leader, what are you excited about in the 1, 2, 3 to 5 years from now? What are you excited most to be like of the evolving component of your career and the way you show up? Like, what are you looking forward to improving personally?
For sure. It's a great question. I think for me, it's opening the front door to our New York location on July 14th will be a milestone. Doing that again in various other new markets over the next 1, 2, 3, 5 years um, is going to be a milestone in itself. I think making sure not only me individually, but as a team, we take the time to like soak that in. I
Yeah.
find when we go so quick, it's easy to just be like, okay, on to the next thing. Okay, next opening is in 8 weeks. We got to go, 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 go. Whereas the importance of like stopping to celebrate, not only personally, but for my team and just the broader team and impact as well, taking the time to reward the hard work that went into those milestones is something I'm already starting to think about. But then personally, I think it's learning. Sounds maybe straightforward, but some of the changes I've made in my career overall, going from Tennis Canada to Maple Leaf Sports, as an example, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, can I handle this big league stuff? And
Yeah.
then
Right.
going from partnerships marketing to I spent my last year at MLSE doing partnerships sales. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can sell. And then taking that leap from partnership sales to now what I'm doing here and the evolving role that I've been in the last 3 years, it's like I can do hard things. I can do things I've never done before. So finding those opportunities to just learn new things. Honestly, even throwing me on a farm last week. I'm a
Yeah.
city girl, born and raised, putting on the rubber boots and getting out into the field and looking at cows and understanding the grazing patterns of chickens and cow. Like that was really
Great.
interesting, and I think seeking out those opportunities to learn new things, and make sure the people around me are able to do the same, I think is what I'm most excited for overall.
Well, I know that you haven't been on a ton of podcasts, and so even this is an example of,
Yeah,
you know,
totally. Personal brand building is on the list.
and I love the way you're playing this game because what I'm picking up and what's coming through quite clearly is, and I think the reason why your lean team is operating so well is that on one hand you're a driver and you're passionate and you want magic to happen. But on the other hand, that doesn't come at the expense of representing that like cool and calm and collected sort of anchor. And you know, when people are in a team of people are in pursuit of something great, they always look for that steadiness and that sort of calm North Star, if you will. And I think that it's a very rare form of leadership, and I think that's probably why you're experiencing so much success in your role. So thanks for giving that as an example of how to play this game.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So July 14th,
Yeah, see you there.
might need to make a trip.
Come on down. We'll welcome anyone with open arms down there.
Everyone, my guest, Liza Marner, thank you so much.
Thank you.